So antacids act by neutralizing gastric acid in the stomach. Thus, they raise the pH of gastric content and reduce the activity of pepsin enzyme. So what basically antacid does? Antacid neutralizes the gastric acid. Okay, in our stomach there is concentrated HCl. So the content or the gastric content is acidic in nature. So what antacid does, it neutralizes the gastric content which is present in our stomach by raising the pH level. Okay, by raising the pH level of the gastric content. If the pH level is lower, then it means it is acidic in nature. As the pH level increases, it became alkalosis, right, or alkaline in nature. So how it neutralizes the gastric content or gastric acidity of the stomach? By neutralizing the gastric content or by neutralizing the pH of the gastric content. And how it reduces the or how it neutralizes, basically what it does, it reduce the activity of pepsin enzyme. Okay, pepsin is an enzyme which is found in the stomach, and what pepsin actually does, this pepsin enzyme break downs the protein. Okay, so it reduces the activity of pepsin enzyme as well as along with gastric content. Okay, along with the acidity of increasing the acidic nature of increasing the pH of the gastric content, it reduces the pepsin enzyme also activity also. So basically, when the activity of pepsin enzyme is reduced, what will happen? Our stomach or our digestive system would not be able to break down the protein. So as a result of which, we will find a symptomatic relief of pain in patient, burning sensation associated with peptic ulcer, gastric refluxes, esophagitis, and other form of dyspepsia. Okay. So antacid, what antacid does, basically it relieves pain which the patient is facing because of gastritis or any peptic ulcer or gastric reflux or esophagitis or dyspepsia. Because of anything, this will relieve, and this also relieve the sensation, the burning sensation in patient, which is again associated with peptic ulcer, gastric reflux also, esophagitis also. Okay, so antacid basically neutralizes the gastric acid in the stomach. They raises the pH of gastric content and reduces the activity of pepsin enzyme. And what happens when the protein is not digested in our body? It can very easily cause undigested protein can very easily cause constipation, that too a severe constipation in patient. Okay, so it is very important that the protein should break down, and for that which enzyme is required? That is pepsin is required. Now here the terms comes peptic ulcer, gastric refluxes, Esophagitis means inflammation of esophagus or food pipe. Peptic ulcer is inflammation of the mucous layer due to the increase of gastric content or increase of pH level of gastric content. Gastric reflexes. In this condition, the patient will feel that every time there is a reflex of acidic content into the mouth, and this is very much common just after taking a meal. Okay, and dyspepsia, that is indigestion. तो ये सारा हो गया antacid का. Now we will move to under the category of antacid. We will first see sodium bicarbonate. So what sodium bicarbonate does, it acts rapidly. Okay, sodium bicarbonate acts very rapidly and is a potent neutralizer, and sodium bicarbonate is considered as a potent neutralizer or a very good neutralizer. Okay, it produces CO2 in the gut and causes gastric distension or eructation. So what sodium bicarbonate does, it produces as soon as the patient is taking sodium bicarbonate in the form of medicine, what it will do, it will increase the gastric distension of the patient's stomach. Okay, there you can see a visible distension in the patient's stomach. And eructation means burping. Now here the burping is of two types. One is artificial type, that the person tend to induce by themselves, or one is a natural type. This sodium bicarbonate is also used for alkalinization of the urine. If the urine has rich content of rich acidic content, then sodium bicarbonate can be given to the client so that it could alkalize the urine. It is also worked, sodium bicarbonate is very much important in the treatment of acidosis. Okay, that means acidosis means decrease of pH level in the body. Increase in the pH level of body is alkalosis and decrease is acidosis. Now we will move towards the dose of sodium bicarbonate. Dose 1 to 5 gram orally. 1 to 5 gram orally. What are the adverse effects? Can cause alkalosis. Sometimes it can cause alkalosis, the patient, gastric discomfort and irritation due to CO2. The patient will continuously feel gastric disturbance, will not feel comfortable, and there would be irritations due to CO2. Irritation is, again I am repeating, burping. Increased sodium load can cause edema and CHF. If excess of books are there, excess of notebooks are there, then what it will basically do, the area will be more cleaner and more messed up, and it will take me less time to complete the work. Now what, yeah. So Another adverse effect of this sodium bicarbonate is increased sodium load can cause edema and CHF. Due to the increase of sodium, what it can cause? It can cause edema due to increase of sodium in the body, lead to edema, and along with edema, it can cause congestive heart failure also. Okay. This is all about sodium bicarbonate. Is it clear to all of you till sodium bicarbonate? Students, till sodium bicarbonate, is it clear to all of you? Please answer. Aradhna? Aradhna? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible to all of you? Because your voice is not reaching me. Aradhna?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, till sodium bicarbonate, it's clear, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we will move to magnesium hydroxide. So, magnesium hydroxide, the dose is given 0.5 to 1 gram or 5 to 10 ml orally. Okay. After that, there comes magnesium carbonate. It is given 250 to 500 mg orally. And the last is magnesium trisilicate. Magnesium trisilicate has low solubility and slower in effect. Okay, it has low solubility. It means it will not dissolve easily or faster. It will not dissolve and has slower in effect and is slower in effect, and it is very slow in effect. Okay, it works slowly. It absorbs and inactivate pepsin. So what magnesium trisilicate does, it basically absorbs the pepsin and after that it inactivates the pepsin. So now the pepsin is not able to work. So if the pepsin is not working, again the same thing will happen, which I have already explained you in antacid, that the protein will not break down. Okay. After combination with gastric acid, it releases silica, which form a gelatinous coat at the base of the ulcer. When magnesium trisilicate comes in contact with HCl, that is the gastric content of our stomach, it will suddenly change into silica. Okay. And due to the formation of this silica, after the reaction of gastric content and pepsin, it started releasing silica, which later on form a gelatinous coat. Okay, at the base of the ulcer, what it will do, it will form a gelatinous coat, gel-like coat. Okay, 5 to 10 dose for magnesium trisilicate is 5 to 10 ml orally. 5 to 10 ml orally. And the adverse effects of these medicines are magnesium salt. Okay, due to this magnesium salt, what it does, magnesium salt retains fluid in the gut and in large doses cause diarrhea. These salts are contraindicated in renal failure. So what magnesium does? Magnesium salt retain the fluid in the gut. Now the fluid is not able to pass through the gut. Okay, so there will be accumulation of fluid in the gut, and in large doses it can cause, that is magnesium trisilicate. What it does? Causes diarrhea among the patient. And this sodium trisilicate is not at all given at the time of renal failure. It is very harmful for renal patient. Okay. Next medicine is calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate is a very effective antacid, but it causes constipation, so not used alone. Usually it can be combined with magnesium salt to counteract their diarrheal effect. So this calcium bicarbonate is considered as a very effective antacid, but it can lead to constipation. So to avoid the constipation, what the doctor used to do, they used to give calcium carbonate along with magnesium salt. Any of the magnesium the doctor can give, magnesium trisilicate, anything can be given under the magnesium salt. Okay. Next comes to, now here the calcium carbonate completes. Now started aluminum hydroxide. Aluminum hydroxide. Aluminum hydroxide is a very effective antacid, and it is used, or it also reduces the activity of pepsin. Okay, so aluminum hydroxide is very effective antacid, and what it does, it reduces the activity of pepsin also. It is not absorbed from intestine. It is, so it does not causes alkalosis. Basically ये जो aluminum hydroxide होता है, this is not absorbed through stomach or intestine, so that's why it cannot cause alkalosis. Until and unless if the substance is not reaching to the gut, it cannot cause alkalosis or acidosis. Okay, now the dose comes, aluminum hydroxide dose, 5 to 10 ml of colloidal solution given as a tablet to be sucked. If it is given in the form of a tablet, then one need to suck it. But if it is given in the form of a syrup, then this syrup would be a colloidal solution. Now, what is a colloidal solution? A colloidal solution is a solution in which the solution or the solvent the suspended particle is evenly suspended or evenly distributed throughout the liquid. Okay. Adverse effect is aluminum hydroxide relaxes smooth muscles. What aluminum hydroxide does, it relaxes the smooth muscles, as a result of which that can cause to constipation further. Further constipation can lead this due to the relax of smooth muscle. Now the smooth muscle is not working and not doing peristalsis movement, so it can lead to constipation. To counteract its constipation action, it can be given with magnesium salt. And to balance the effect of constipation, because it is a very severe, no, sorry, it is a very strong medicine which can cause constipation. So to avoid the constipation of the patient friend, it relaxes smooth muscle gut, causing constipation. To counteract its constipation action, it can be given with magnesium salt. Now we are giving this medicine along with magnesium salt. It cannot be given along individually. Aluminum hydroxide cannot be given because the effect of magnesium trisilicate, you can see already we have studied what it does. It forms a silica or gelatinous coat in the base of the ulcer, which can lead to diarrhea. So aluminum hydroxide cannot be given single-handedly. It has to be given along with magnesium trisilicate so that it could not cause constipation to the patient. All antacids are usually given 1 hour after meal throughout the day. Okay, we have to give after 1 hour of the meal and on retiring. Antacids are also used in prophylaxis or aspiration pneumonia. During this, antacid can be given at the time of endoscopies, prolonged surgeries. At the time of prolonged surgery, or also to the comatose patient, it can also be given. Now here comes the another medicine, that is histamine receptor blocker or H2 blocker. Okay, so now we will see H2 blocker. These agents block the action of histamine or H2 histamine receptor. Either they will block the what they will do, this medicine, this H2 blocker, they block histamine, the action of histamine, okay, at the site of histamine receptor. हिस्टामिन रिसेप्टर के साइड पे ये हिस्टामिन के एक्शन को ब्लॉक कर देते हैं. And these histamine receptors are at various part of our body, present at various part of our body, and these histamine receptors are also present in the, along with other part of the body, it is also present in the stomach also. So it blocks the histamine secretion, and that's why it is called H2 antagonist also, because it is blocking the action of histamine at the H2 histaminic receptor. So that's why it is also termed as H2 antagonists. Okay. Histamine causes secretion of acid from the stomach. What histamine does? Histamine causes the secretion of acid from the stomach. And how it causes the secretion of acid from the stomach? By blocking H2 receptor. Okay. By blocking the H2 receptor, it causes secretion of acid from the stomach. When the H2 receptor is, or the H2 receptor, these agents reduce the amount. What it does, these H2 receptor reduces the amount of acid released in the stomach. Okay? They reduce the amount of acid which is released in the stomach, and due to the reduction in the amount of acid release, the ulcer starts healing, or it promotes the ulcer healing. This H2 blocker or histamine receptor H2 blocker is used in the condition, कौन कौन से कंडीशन में यूज होते हैं? गैस्ट्राइटिस में यूज होते हैं, जियोडिनल अल्सर में यूज होता है, गैस्ट्रिक अल्सर, रिफ्लेक्स, esophagitis, okay, means inflammation of this food pipe tube, and Zollinger-Ellison syndrome. Now, what is this Zollinger-Ellison syndrome? Is also termed as ZE syndrome. In this, tumor causes stomach to produce too much acid, resulting in peptic ulcer. इस कंडीशन में ZE सिंड्रोम में क्या होता है? एक ट्यूमर बन जाता है स्टमक में, जिसकी वजह से वो ट्यूमर क्या करता है कि बहुत ज्यादा एसिड सेक्रेट करता है, ठीक है, ड्यू टू विच जो स्टमक का म्यूकस मेम्ब्रेन है उसमें क्या होने लग जाता है? इन्फ्लेमेशन होने लग जाता है, एंड दैट कैन फर्दर लीड टू पेप्टिक अल्सर इन द पेशेंट. जो हिस्टामिन रिसेप्टर्स हैं और जो यूज होता है नॉर्मली इन द मार्केट आर सिमिटिडिन, ranitidine, famotidine. Okay, so we will see one by one. Cimetidine, this medicine can be given 400 mg twice daily orally for 6 weeks. For 6 weeks continuously, 400 mg twice daily it should be given, or 400 mg at night as maintenance dose, or else one can give 400 mg at night in the form of a maintenance dose. Okay, ranitidine. This ranitidine is more potent as compared to cimetidine. Means it is more effective than the first medicine. It is given, the amount is given 150 mg 2 times a daily orally for 6 weeks again. Here the only doses is changed, and 150 mg at night as maintenance dose given. Last one is famotidine. This famotidine is the most potent one or the most effective one. It is even more effective than ranitidine. So it is even more potent than ranitidine. It is given 40 mg at night for 6 weeks orally, and 20 mg as a maintenance dose. Okay. Now, what is the adverse effect of histamine receptor or H2 blockers? The first medicine, cimetidine, has anti-androgenic action. So it has a bad effect on male patient, because anti-androgenic action means it will affect the testosterone hormone of the male. So it can alter the reproductive activity of the male also, and cause impotence, libido, and gynecomastia, okay, in male. Next is what cimetidine can do. It affects the metabolism of the drugs also. For some medicine, it elongates their action also, like beta blocker, phenytoin, morphine. इन सब मेडिसिन में सेमिटिडिन देने से क्या होता है कि इन लोगों का जो इफेक्टिवनेस है ना, वो प्रोलॉन्ग्ड हो जाता है, इनका एक्शन प्रोलॉन्ग हो जाता है, ठीक है. लास्ट इज प्रोटोन पंप इनहिबिटर. Last medicine is proton pump inhibitor. These drugs prevent the excretion of H2 ion or hydrogen ion in the stomach. What this proton pump inhibitor does, it prevents it stops the secretion of H ion or hydrogen ion in the stomach, and this hydrogen ion combining with what hydrogen ion does, it forms HCl, right? So if hydrogen ion is not releasing, then there will be no acid secretion or acid formation in the stomach will take place. So proton pump inhibitor prevent the excretion of hydrogen ion in the stomach. This H ion or H plus is mainly responsible for the formation of acid in stomach. Thus, by blocking the H plus secretion, these agents suppress gastric acid secretion. Okay, जब H हाइड्रोजन आयन ही सेक्रेट नहीं हो रहा है तो HCl भी फॉर्म नहीं होगा, जिसकी वजह से क्या हो गया कि एसिड सेक्रेट नहीं हो रहा है. ठीक है, तो फिर क्या होगा कि अगर सपोज करो इन केस ऑफ पेप्टिक अल्सर है या फिर ये रिफ्लक्स इसोफेगाइटिस है, और एल्स यू कैन टेक द कंडीशन ऑफ जोलिंजर एलिसन सिंड्रोम है, ये सब जेडी सिंड्रोम है. ये सब क्या होगा इन दिस कंडीशन, इट गेट्स द टाइम और इट गिव्स द टाइम टू द पेशेंट टू गेट हील होने के लिए टाइम देता है. ठीक है, तो इसके अंदर कौन कौन से आ जाते हैं मेडिसिन अंडर प्रोटोन पंप इनहिबिटर? ओमिप्राजोल एंड लेंसोप्राजोल. Okay, omeprazole and lansoprazole. So what omeprazole does, how we have to give the omeprazole, or what is the dose for omeprazole? So 20 mg daily orally. If omeprazole is given, then it should be given 20 mg daily orally. And about lansoprazole, 30 mg once daily orally. Okay, so this was all about. If you have any doubt from the beginning, that is from the sodium bicarbonate till proton pump inhibitor, you all are free to ask. You can ask me. अगर कोई डाउट है आपको सोडियम बाइकार्बोनेट से प्रोटॉन पंप इनहिबिटर तक में कहीं पे भी, तो आप पूछ सकते हो. कोई डाउट है स्टूडेंट्स? स्टूडेंट्स प्लीज आंसर. प्रियंका,
Yes, ma'am.
प्रियंका, दीप्ति, मोनिका, आराधना,
Yes, ma'am.
कोई डाउट है कहीं पे?
Mm. No, ma'am.